This panel discussion focuses on the vision of mediation development. And first of all, it will look at the government, the state's vision, and it's not only Ukraine, it's only about the international vision, about the experience of other countries that contribute to the mediation development. This panel is quite traditional for our forum. There's a certain opportunity to bring into the same platform for an hour and a half the representatives of central governmental bodies, of international organizations, to speak about the current situation of the mediation development of Ukraine, what are the further steps, what has already been done, what we plan to do, and what is also valuable is that today Ukraine keeps mediation and the focus mm, within the governmental framework. And as I've mentioned, in the context of EU integration, it has a certain influence on the fact that we see increasing attention to this topic. And I would like to give the floor to Mr. Roman. I will introduce our speakers one by one. This panel brings together representatives of different governmental bodies. Today we're going to see the legislative, judicial, execution branches, the representatives of individual services and law enforcement bodies. And so today I'm giving the floor to Mr. Roman Babi, who is the chair of the subcommittee on the Enforcement European Court of Human Rights Judgments and Alternative Dispute Resolution of the Верховна Rada Committee on Legal Policy. Mr. Roman, for many years, has been putting effort into the development of mediation in Ukraine, into the legal resolution issues in Ukraine. He was directly involved in the development of the law of Ukraine on mediation, and year by year, despite all the challenges of the wartime, he keeps mediation the focus of his attention, and he can share many achievements in his work. Mr. Roman, over to you. Hello, dear participant. Hello, Ms. Louisa. Thank you for the introduction. It was so nice one. And thank you for inviting me yet again to this forum. Thank you for organizing it. And thank you for the opportunity to share our developments, our achievements, and our ideas. You speak so high of me, and this is you emphasize this is the 10th, this like a Jubilee Forum, and thank you to the EU Ukrainian Mediation Academy, thank you to the EU supported project, namely Consent, other related bodies, the governmental bodies, organizations that contributed to the organization of this event. It has become the traditional platform to discuss the achievements and issues of mediation and the problems we see. We also look at other ways of alternative dispute resolution. I've read some background of this forum. I would like to emphasize its consistency, how regular it takes place. It's an important indicator of growing, and we speak about the number of participants, about the scope and scale every year. Apart from some global challenges that organizers cannot influence, this is the first year of COVID-19 pandemics in 2020 and the first year of full-scale invasion. The forum it didn't take place, but other than that, it takes place regularly despite the war. It adjusts to the challenging conditions and including through online mode. And it does not only preserve its importance and format, but it continues to scale up. I believe that online format contributes to that because it enables us to engage so many countries of various time zones and so many participants. Another thing I would like to outline that this is the first time that the forum will take 6 days in a row, including Saturdays, day off at the weekend. But that's another indicator, the market that this is an extraordinary event and it gains increasing importance. This platform for me is a yearly reporting event in a certain sense, and it's a certain watch we synchronize with that makes us look at some results and plan something ahead. And I have already have this certain procedure of preparation to this forum. I review what has already been said during previous years. I look at the highlights during the year and just outline this summary and enjoy this conversation with the professional community in 2024. We jointly carried out this large-scale, the comprehensive audit of the committee hearings, and we registered certain results of this audit.
And today we have this very interesting topic. I mean, this particular discussion, development of mediation of Ukraine and the state's vision of mediation. I would want to show the vision of further development on behalf of our committee and the state per se. So let me say this. In the past 2-3 years, the state stopped seeing mediation as something optional. The vision of the state is as follows. ADR is not something exquisite and external for our country. It's an essential element of European system that provides access to justice for everyone. ADR is an institution that enables us to resolve complex disputes, and that's closely related to the policy making that is taking place as we speak. Here, let me highlight our joint achievement of the recent years. And I'm talking about interagency coordination council. For as of today, I can proudly say that this interagency coordination council is now established. It happened last year, and now it started working full scale. There has been several sessions and several decisions have been made. As for the Interagency Coordination Council, the Ministry of Justice will tell you more about this because they are the owner of that council. But I am convinced that this institution being established represents a huge step forward. Now, the Parliament of Ukraine, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Social Policies, and other ministries and institutions, representatives of the professionals in the law sector, they have a platform to coordinate their efforts. So this coordination council, I hope, will be able to form this well-aligned comprehensive policy in ADR. Of course, there is certain hiccups still with engagement of certain branches of executive power. The second point I want to make is about development of ADR and mediation. I'm talking about roadmap that is an important element for the EU accession process. We all know that negotiation process is not officially open, but we are almost there, because we all know about the developments with the Hungarian position, and we expect this any day now, opening of the negotiation process, official opening. With ADR, we do have some developments to show. I also would like to highlight, maybe some other colleagues will dwell on this more, but I'm talking about the statistical data on the work of the judiciary and the courts. This has been introduced, the collection of data, and it's a very important step forward, because data is giving us this foundation. Maybe you know the results from 2025. Maybe you've seen the statistics. And I'm sure it's worthwhile learning the methods and methodology of data collection. And I hope that 2026 will be adjusted with that regard. Now, a few words about the work of the parliament. I hope you know the real context where we work. We are now working during the wartime, which means we have certain requirements, what we prioritize: defense, security, safety, and so on. This all, of course, affects the timeline for any legislative process at the parliament, which doesn't mean the reforms are stalling. No. Both in 2025 and this year, mediation is important. It remains important. The consumer disputes is one of the topics that has been covered by this new law adopted in March this year, Law 15100. This again is very closely related to our EU integration process. Another bill on economic policy that is also related to mediation. It will be expedited at the parliament. Another bill, 1234, about labor disputes, it's completely prepared for the first reading at the parliament. Now it's waiting until the window of opportunities at the parliament. A few words about other areas of ADR. Arbitration. Now 9041 bill has become adopted. It's about commercial arbitration. And this law now regulates institutions handling these kinds of disputes. Another bill is about to be registered at the parliament. There can be some frustration about slow process, but the work is ongoing nonetheless. The dispute resolution with the participation of a judge. And then other related topics, we keep working at the parliament on them. A few words about the plans and further steps. Here, let me say that based on the Interagency Coordination Council, based on that platform, we are prepared to build on that. This institution is responsible for developing state policies and their further implementation. And we do have certain results. Mandatory information meetings with mediators is one of achievements on this path. I'm not going to talk about this too long because the Ministry of Justice later will give you more details. It's also very important to promote and popularize ADR. We have to show how efficient this tool can be for dispute resolution. For pretrial mediation, mandatory mediation, we have to remember and be aware that the state, probably not only the state, but also mediators, have to guarantee the sufficient number of qualified mediators in every region of Ukraine. We want to avoid the situation when making something mandatory without the necessary resources is rendering it just a technicality, not a real tool. We want to avoid this situation. We want to be sure that people have access to mediators. That's why piloting of this project is very important. Once again, I will say that Ministry of Justice will later give you more details on this. To sum it up, I have to say that the vision of the state, which is the title of this discussion, the vision of the state is not built in a vacuum. Mediation and other tools of ADR or mechanisms are very important for the Parliament of Ukraine, for the Cabinet of Ministers. And that is clearly seen because we see the new bills being registered. This coordination council is being established. And that's exactly showing how active mediators are, how much they do together with other stakeholders, academia, practitioners, professionals. We all work together on that. I feel it every day. And there is multiple examples of fruitful efforts of us all. I have mentioned some bills and adopted laws. We also have to remember about other mechanisms that are promoting ADR. Let me just say that the committee and subcommittee that I am leading are your partners and are committed to our joint work. And I would like to thank you for your work on teaching Ukrainian citizens to resolve disputes in a peaceful manner in our day and age is crucial. I wish us all good, fruitful discussions and have fun. Thank you. Thank you so much, Roman. Special thanks for bringing up what's being processed at the Parliament of Ukraine and for highlighting the proactive position of mediators of Ukraine. Thank you for that. Now we feel relieved because we see your commitment in this partnership. I mean, uh, the committee and subcommittee, we see your understanding how important mediation is. And your subcommittee and committee have set the tone. Why? In 2024, with the full-scale war going on, with a huge amount of pressing issues before the state, you still had an opportunity to focus on ADR for 2 days, and that's very valuable. Your guidelines and recommendations became an impetus for further developments in this area. We feel your support. Now we enjoy this partnership with the state so much. Thank you very much, Roman, for understanding what mediation really is and understanding the value of ADR as a whole. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to move on to our judiciary system that plays a crucial role in development of mediation and other ADR mechanisms. So today we have with us Alexander Mamaluy, Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Court of Ukraine. Now I would ask Alexander to show their perspective from the perspective of the judiciary system. What are the current state of affairs and the plans for the future? Over to you, Alexander. Thank you so much. Warm greetings to everyone here, both organizers and attendees. Thank you for the invitation to speak. In my short welcome words, I will not talk a lot about our achievements, our joint efforts. All of that is very and very important to ensure that we work efficiently. But what I value most is understanding that just the fact that we get the result proves that we are moving in the right direction. What can I say about our results? So, dear colleagues, we all know that mediation has to be developed as ADR has to be developed. The respective policies have been adopted in May 2025. I personally believe that ADR and mediation in particular have great potential with a view to relieving courts from unnecessary load. All our procedural codes say that every judge in the preparatory phase has to clarify with the parties to the dispute whether they are willing to choose mediation as a tool to settle their dispute. Last year, first instance courts did this 204,837 times. So they asked this question, as a result of which mediation was used one time. So they asked over 204,000 times, and mediation has taken place once. In civil jurisdiction, in civil courts, they also have this obligation. They ask this question over 1 million times in 2025. 1,000th of all the cases in civil courts have been processed by mediation. And I don't think it's a good enough result. We have Academy of Mediation. We have all those elements of infrastructure. But still, we have a problem here. Why? Why is that so? I believe, first of all, it's because of lack of trust among people. People don't trust each other. People don't trust mediators. People don't trust courts and judges. But when it's inevitable, people will have to go to the court to resolve their disputes. But when people get an opportunity to resolve their dispute through mediation, they are not knowing what it is, so they don't trust it. What Roman said about popularization of mediation, I believe that's what we have to focus on.
And they may say that no, we didn't want that. We came to court and we would like the court to help us to find the truth. However, they have to be explained that if you go through mediation, you will be reimbursed the 60% of the court fees, and the peace is better than war. So we have to work on that. The second issue that leads to this unsatisfactory result is the economy. Rephrasing Heraclitus that economy is the driver of everything and the foundation everything. Very often the attorneys come to the hearings and they make the contracts to represent the interest of the parties and the court, not to settle the issues through mediations, because the attorneys represent the interest of the parties in court. So um, mediation is not something that attorneys may benefit from economically. We also have to work with the defense community, and maybe they have to include to this contract the paragraphs on the mediation and this way of dispute resolution. Because these two aspects, I believe, lead to the results I've mentioned today in terms of numbers. But we do need these forums. The promotion is necessary. The increasing the legal awareness, legal culture of the population is necessary because I see a wide perspective. And that this area is very promising that will relieve the load on the courts, and it will have the positive impact on the entire system. Thank you for the attention. If you have any questions, I'm open to answer them. Thank you very much, Mr. Alexander. Thank you for outlining the issues that require so much attention. And it's great that we're all partners here to address these issues and to overcome them. Something you've mentioned is the illustration of something we're going to do during this week. These issues are include economy, this the need to work with attorneys and the judges, because this is the question of who informs about the mediation in what way. And it emphasizes that you cannot work in just one group of the population, attorneys, judges. We have to have this comprehensive approach. And that's really great that we're all in the same space, seeing one another, realizing the challenges we encounter, and together we can move forward and seek the solutions for these issues. I would like to say the word of thanks to the justice system. This is the Supreme Court that contributes to promotion of mediation. This is about the information boards that we see inside of the Supreme Court and the courts of appeal. It is all with the support of the Supreme Court because when the Supreme Court as the highest court body starts this trend, it's much better perceived on site. And thank you for the state judge administration that changed the portal of the justice system and opened the dedicated web page for mediation and how you can resolve the disputes through mediation. And I believe that next year we're going to get together on this forum and to see some results, what worked, what didn't work, what we have to enhance and push forward. This is also the question of how to collect this justice statistics. We have to improve something, to change something. But one thing I know for sure, there are issues we have to address, and the CPAS recommendations and guidelines can really help us to move forward more efficiently. Thank you so very much, Mr. Alexander. You represent the justice system today, and I would like to mention that the National School of Judges of Ukraine plays an important role. They are partners in organizing this forum. This forum is also the additional opportunity to increase awareness about the mediation among the justice system and our other partners at the National Attorney Association who joined us online today. And I would like to place the emphasis that things that Mr. Alexander mentioned today are of utmost importance. So let's put joint efforts to achieve the results of mediation development in the country and the increased number of using mediation and make it more accessible and to have the result in terms of the relief of the load on the justice system and the access to justice among the citizens. Thank you very much. And now I would like to move forward and to give the floor to Mr. Viktor Dubovik, if you're here. He's the Director General of the Directorate for Legal Policy of the Office of the President of Ukraine. And it is important to hear from the Office of the President of Ukraine of their attitude to mediation, what plans you have, and what steps forward you see. Thank you very much for inviting me, for giving the floor at such a respected event. I'm a newcomer who have learned about the mediation just recently, just last year. And I would like to say the words of thanks to the justice system that they outlined these perspectives that the justice system uh, has in terms of the mediation as it opens new horizons. Thank you to Mr. Roman and Alexandra for this framework you outlined during your presentations and during the analysis of what we already see and about the further steps and the mediation development in 2026 and on. And I would like to emphasize that the Office of the President and the strategy of the development of the justice system we pay much attention to mediation. But I would like also to speak about another aspect. It was presented by me on last Thursday. It's a comprehensive survey we initiated the Office of the President. This is mathematical um, projection of filling in the positions and the courts for future years. Why is it important in terms of mediation? We concluded that the pace of the procedural and competition procedures uh, make it possible to at least in the 10-year horizon. And it's only under the condition that we will make this competition procedures easier, and we realize that to keep the justice system as it is regarding the open vacancies means that the access to the justice system will not improve but will deteriorate instead. We carried out the analysis based on the models used in the EU regarding the average terms of consideration of the cases at courts, and we saw from that until 2026 we see the increasing number of days for the consideration of such cases from 68 to 166 days. So this average term of consideration, the first line court. So we see a threefold increase. If we say that we look at the 10-year horizon of filling in the vacancies, it means that in a decade time, we're going to see even worse results. So in the context of understanding that today, the filling in the vacancies of the courts is struggling, and the court justice asks for facilitation of the access. Mediation is the tool to engage this procedure and influence to the average term of consideration of the cases through the relief of load on the courts and judges. And this tool will improve the situation in the justice system of Ukraine. Mediation is the tool to shape the culture of dialogue and compromises, and the nourishing of such culture is closely linked to clarification, explanation why we need mediation. We have to reshape the understanding of justice, that justice is not to win the case in court, but instead of finding the result that it will be mutually accepted, not imposed by the country, by something that the parties came up to. The statistics that Mr. Alexander mentioned shows that the understanding of mediation currently is just that it's very beginning. It's a conception stage, including in this community of judges and attorneys. Maybe we can amend the legislature to stimulate the access and to using this mediation processes. And this is our plans for this and the following years to improve the access to the mediation system and including in the context of our EU commitments. Thank you very much. Thank you, Victor, and thank you for bringing this perspective to the understanding of mediation development, because this is about ensuring access to justice, but it can only be achieved if we work consistently both with judges and attorneys, as well as the representatives of other legal professionals. So we speak about the legal ways and using and mediation as the dispute resolution mode. We're looking forward to the results of this survey. We will add it to the forum materials. I have it on my Facebook page, so please follow me because I posted there the summary and the recommendations. Thank you very much, Mr. Victor, including for finding the place for mediation in the program documents that the Office of the President develops. And now I would like to give the floor to Ms. Olga Hildyushkina. Are you here? I cannot see you for now. Then Mr. Alexander Oleynik, are you with us already? Yes,
Доброго
hello.
дня. Тоді передаю слово
Then
пану
I'm giving the
Олександру,
floor
який
to
сьогодні
Mr.
представляє
Alexander, who
Міністерство юстиції
represents the
України,
Ministry of
який є
Justice of Ukraine
відповідальним, в тому
today.
числі за
He is
демократизацію
also
контролю верховенства
responsible
права.
for the roadmap
І
on the rule of law, and
Олександр також сьогодні
Alexander is
займається, опікується роботою
also
міжвідомчої
takes care
координаційної
of
ради, з якою
Interagency
ведеться
Coordination
відеозв'язок.
Council
Пане
uh,
Роман,
that Mr. Roman
Олександр, вам
referred
слово.
to today already.
Доброго дня, шановні
Alexander, over
колеги.
to you. Dear colleagues,
Дякую
hello.
попереднім
Thank
виступам
you
вам
for, Luisa, thank you very
запевнення
much to
за
you for the
організацію
introduction,
такого
for organizing
масштабного
this
форуму
large-scale
медіації
forum
права. Вже 10-й,
on
він ведений вже
mediation
10-й
and
є.
law. This is the
І насправді
10th
дуже
one,
дякую
and I
за ґрунтовний
congratulate you on
аналіз
that. And thank you
попередніх
for this
спікерів,
profound
пана Вікторі,
analysis from the
який
previous
я
speakers.
приєднуюсь до тих
Mr.
людей, які
Victor, I
вважають математику не
uh,
лише наукою, а
believe
столицею
that
світлого розуму.
maths,
І
not only the
перший з наших
science, but
спікерів
the
насправді
queen of
знімає
our
певні всі
mind,
суперечки, які
and
можуть
something
бути
that
в цьому світі.
numbers
І от
speaks
пан
to
Олександр сказав,
eliminates any
навів
disputes
таку
on
дуже
the importance of something. And
ситуацію
Mr. Alexander
певною мірою
mentioned the
об'єктивну картину,
numbers
яку ми
that outlines
зараз маємо.
objective
Чому
picture of
йдуть до
what we have
медіації
here, whether
чи
people
не йдуть.
go into
І
mediation or
саме
not.
саме в судових
And
справах, коли сторони
when we speak
звертаються до
about
суду, ми
the
бачимо,
court
що
cases,
суди їм кажуть, що така
we can
можливість
see
є.
that the
Питайте,
courts
як
mentioned that
кажете
they
ви,
have
добре,
this
добре,
opportunity.
немає кажуть. І
How they word it, that's another
статистично за
thing.
25 rік, між
And
іншим, стало більше
statistically,
справ
in
врегульованих шляхом
2025,
медіації. І ми
very
задавалися
few, if any,
цією
cases were
юстиції
settled
в
through
рамках Бюджетного
mediation
жіночого комітету.
within
Ми
the
задали
Ministry of
питання,
Justice and
чому?
the Interagency Committee.
Вивчали це
We also
питання
asked
і
this question, why is
сьогодні
that? And
прозвучало
we
це
looked closely
нас,
at
чому
this
так може бути, і пан
question.
Роман
We heard
казав, і пан
several answers
Олександр
to these
певною
questions,
мірою,
both from Mr.
що для
Alexander and
цього
Mr.
немає,
Roman.
напевно, для цього немає певних
Probably
економічних
we
передумов.
don't need
От
some
поставте собі питання, от
economic
ви зараз з нами
predisposition.
в ефірі,
Those who are
чи можете ви
a part of this
порадити,
forum,
наприклад,
ask
стороні
yourself a question. Can
знайомій з
you
кимось, який до вас звертається,
uh,
хорошого адвоката, якщо ви маєте.
advise a
Ну,
good
напевно,
attorney
так.
to a
Швидше так,
party
ніж
that
ні.
comes to you?
А чи можете ви
Probably
порадити,
yes,
коли треба
likely yes.
оцінити
And
матеріали
can
і
you
виконатися? Теж, скоріш за
recommend
все, відповідь
a
буде ні.
good, competent
Чи
notary if
можете ви
you
порадити гарного
need to
медіатора, де ви
take
будете
some notary
впевнені і
activities? But can you
об'єктивним вам
recommend
і
a good
стороні, що звернулася,
mediator
допоможе вирішити
that
справу?
will help you
Питання
to
відносне до
resolve the
медіації зможуть
disputes?
порадити,
That's the
але в мене є
question.
інший приклад
Uh,
життя,
I
що
have other examples
одному
in my
знайомий
life.
медіатор
A
3 рази
mediator I
направляв
know
людей до іншого медіатора, щоб вирішити спір, і, на
would
жаль, 3 рази ці
send
медіації, ті медіатори, до яких вона
the
відправляла,
people she
були
knew to
успішні,
that
сторони
mediator, and the
домовилися.
mediation failed, actually.
На мою
It wasn't
думку, чому так
successful.
може відбуватися? Тому
Why
що в
that
нас
could happen?
станом на зараз в
As
силу
of
різних
now,
об'єктивних,
due
суб'єктивних
to
причин,
various objective and
цього року
subjective reasons, we do
медіації
not
не
have
існує.
this mediation
Досі
market.
він є
Not
фрагментарним.
yet. It is
І
quite
відповідно
fragmented and granular.
немає певних
And
критеріїв щодо
we don't have
якості
certain
надання послуг
criteria
в
regarding the
загальних
quality of
спеціалізаціях
services, some
медіаторів.
general
Немає критеріїв
criteria. We don't have the
можливості
criteria for
контролю якості надання цієї
quality
послуги.
control
Ну і
for
відповідно за
such
порушення цієї
services,
якості
and
потрібно
we don't have the responsibility
інституту
for
виконавчого
violation of this
матеріалу,
quality.
станом на
So we
зараз не
don't have
існує,
this
в силу знову ж таки різних
mediation
різних
institute
причин.
that would have trust of people for
Тому, власне,
various
дуже
reasons. So
іноді дивуєшся,
that's the reason
судяться
people do
до
not
того,
go into
що
mediation
результат є
because they're
втрачений.
concerned who
Як
they're
можна цю
going to go
проблему
to, what
вирішити?
if something goes wrong,
А,
how we can address this
В рамках
issue.
жіночо-комісійної
Mm.
ради ми
Within this
ухвалили рішення,
Interagency
що
Coordination Council, we
наразі
agreed
Міністерство
on the
юстиції в
following. The
координації з
Ministry
судами,
of
з
Justice, with
медіаційною
the
спільнотою,
coordination
буде
of
запроваджувати
mediation
пілотний
community and
проект,
the courts,
який
is going to launch
згідно
the pilot
рекомендацій
project.
САПЕЧ
According
і
to
того, що сказав
Savage
пан Віктор,
recommendations, is
вищестоящий
something
Віктор,
that
що
Mr.
буде
Victor and Alexander
передувати цим
mentioned.
важливим законодавчим змінам щодо
It
встановлення в
may become
процесуальних кодексах
the ground
обов'язку
for the
перезвонення
legislative
до
amendments
медіації перед вирішенням
provided in the
справи в
codes
суді.
before so going to mediation before
Пілотний проект
going
буде
to court.
пропонувати
The
з
pilot
однієї сторони
project
буде
will imply,
встановлювати
on one
певний
hand, will establish
обов'язок. Ми це будемо ще
a
дискутувати
certain
з
responsibility. This is
Радою
something
суддів, можливо, з
to be
Вищою радою
discussed
правосуддя,
with the
з
Supreme
приводу
Council of
того, яким чином
Justice, with the
можливо будуть реформувати
Judges Council regarding the way the courts are going to inform the parties regarding the mediation. And this notice, this information will provide the information that there is this pilot project, and I will speak more about that. That the parties can go to mediators selected within this pilot project. So in a certain way, the state in certain way ensures the quality of the service provided by the mediator. If the parties are interested in mediation, they will have certain perks. Namely, this is reimbursement of the court fee. That's maybe saving some money on the further court fees. This is the attorney fee, some additional expertise conclusions. We heard that there is a threefold increase in the number of case consideration because potentially the duration of consideration of the cases may be reduced. Then we may emphasize on the preparation phase into the court hearing and engagement mediation in that. So we will encourage the party or the parties to reach out to a mediator who will be part of this pilot project. We also discussed whether the state can provide it free of charge. We discussed that with the centers of the Free Legal Aid Center. Maybe you're not aware of the fact that we have the Ukrainian Center of the Free Legal Aid, and we launched this pilot project of using mediation in terms of this recovery justice regarding this juvenile crimes. And 70% of people who go to the coordination center for mediation use this service. And um, regarding this cooperation with these underage children, and this is they discuss the settlement for to compensate the losses of the victims, and it influences the future of these children. And our Free Legal Aid Center reimburses the fee for the mediation services. We have this register of mediators at the coordination center, and using this format, we're going to use to have this registry where we select the mediators for this information familiarization meetings within the cases when the court forwards them to the mediators through this pilot project. Of course, they do not. This is not an obligation to go to the mediators who were selected within the project, and the people who have the certificates. Well, who believes they're mediators or not? That it differs.
Хтось би хотів, але от немає доступу до клієнтської бази. Тобто сторона може звернутися
Some people
через
do want
інформаційну
to do
систему
this, but they
відповідної
don't
медіатора
have
створеної
access to
і
client
першу
space.
тисячу справ
So a
порахували ще
register
бюджетні
is a good
дослідничі гроші.
development.
Ці от інформаційно-оціночні зустрічі з медіатором є
These
безкоштовні,
first
тобто звертайтеся
information
до
meetings will be free
юридично
of
тут це
charge.
передбачити не можемо, але я думаю, у них проблем немає.
I'm
Але
sure
для
it's not going to
фізичних
be
перші
a
тисячі
problem,
справ
but for the physical
протягом денного курсу
persons,
будуть оплачуватись за рахунок держави.
the state will cover the cost of this information meeting when the parties just meet a mediator and get basic information. If the parties decide to move on with mediation, they do it. Otherwise, they will go back to court. At the pre-trial session, judges will ask if parties have attended an information session with the mediator without going deeper into details. But there is several scenarios how things can develop from here with the parties. up to all the way
Що
up
ми тут
to
досягаємо? Ми досягаємо можливість просто
resolving
кваліфікувати, відібрати медіаторів,
dispute
які, до
outside of
яких можуть
court.
звернутися потенційно з
What are we
позовною стороною.
doing with this
Це буде можливість,
development?
звісно, проведення
Having
онлайн
mediators
інформаційно-ознайомчих зустрічей, про що
more available and
аналогічно
accessible
покрити
to the
таку
parties,
потребу. І
including
подається, в
through
принципі, чи
online
сторони підуть
tools.
на це,
We want
наскільки
to
вони
see if parties
поміряти фізично,
will
статистично
uh,
цю
use this
заінтересованість
option.
сторін
We want to
у такому випадку щодо
collect some
проведення медіації.
statistics
Плюс,
on
знову
how
ж таки, буде
willing
відповідний
the
контролюючий
parties are
акціонерний
to use
вплив
it.
з боку держави, плюс
Then the state
всі
will support
медіатори
this.
зможуть туди долучитися.
All
І
mediators will
щодо,
be able to
скажімо,
engage
пропрацювання
in this process.
методичних матеріалів
As
щодо
for the
проведення цих
methodology
ознайомчих
and the
зустрічей, щодо
materials for the
інших
information
речей,
sessions,
яким чином має проводитись вона і подальша медіація щодо визначення медіабельності спору чи
we
немедіабельності
need
спору,
to be very
тут
clear
ви можете
about
залучити,
each
власне,
dispute, whether
лідерів
it's mediatable
медіаційної
or not.
спільноти,
Leaders of
будь-які громадські організації, які тоді окремим
mediators
могли долучити.
community
От
have
приблизно
to
таке
work
бачення,
together
якщо
to
будемо
develop
проговорювати
necessary
наскільки
materials. That's what
з
we have
мобілізаційної спільноти, і
now.
таку позицію запровадження такого пілоту підтримала, між іншим,
We
Верховна Рада на останньому засіданні.
in
Коли
at this
фіналізується
latest
безпосередньо,
session of
скажімо так,
IACC
погоджуваність
supported this
з
pilot.
суддівською спільнотою
Once we are in
і
line with all
іншими
the
стейкхолдерами, ми домовилися,
stakeholders,
що
including
ми
the
в даному ж
judiciary,
версії винесемо ще раз на МКР, обговоримо,
we
можливо, доповнимо, редактуємо, і вже
will
будемо приймати
revisit
після цього
the
відповідні
program
управлінські рішення, тобто
all
оформляти
together
юридично
so
проект
that we
положення проекту
know all
відповідними
the
наказами
managerial
Міністерства юстиції, внесення
nitty-gritty
змін до
details.
Кабінету міністрів. Можливо, Рада суддів свої рішення буде з цього приводу
Probably
приймати.
the
Будемо
Council of
обговорювати
Judges
його
will
поближче
also
до
have
кінця.
their own
Що це нам дасть в
recommendations.
перспективі, як ми
What will we get
очікуємо, до
in
яких
the long
результатів може
run
прийти? Перше, ми
from this
подивимося,
pilot?
чи
First of all,
запрацює
we will
такий
see
підхід щодо більш
if
такого
this
конкретного
kind of
роз'яснення
approach
суддями
will be efficient when the
через камер
judges
у власне
explain,
робочому
give
засіданні
out
про
these
про медіацію,
memos
чи
during the
підуть
pretrial
висновки.
session
Якщо підуть,
about
то
mediation. We want
скільки?
to see
Тобто ми отримаємо
how many
статистичні дані. Після цього ми зрозуміємо,
people
чи є
will use
майбутнє, що не
mediation.
так, де що не
That will give
спрацювало,
us
і
some
відповідно, якщо
baseline,
результати
which
будуть
we will be
хороші,
able to
якщо
analyze,
потік
to
буде
improve, and
великим,
build on.
з однієї сторони
So, on the one
медіатори отримують
hand,
постійну роботу, це дуже
mediators
добре.
will have
З іншої
more
сторони, ми
work. On the
вимірюємо
other
кількість
hand, we
таких
will
звернень і, можливо, потенційно,
measure
як
the
наслідок,
number
розвантаження
of
судів. І
cases
відповідно це
resolved
стане
by
основою
mediation that would
математичною
alleviate some
для того, щоб
workload
ґрунтувати на
off
якій
the shoulders
забезпечення
of
відповідних змін і подати
courts.
відповідний законопроект
And
на розгляд
all of
суду.
that will
От
enable
приблизно таке
us
бачення.
to do further steps in
Сподіваємося, що воно спрацює, і це дійсно план на
changing,
26
reforming
рік
our
такий
system.
пілот
We
запустити.
hope that this pilot will be
Ну і
launched in
27 рік
2026,
подивитися
and
на
then
його
in
результати по
2027, we will
завершенні
be able to
27
analyze
року.
the results by the end of
Дякую.
27. Thank you.
Так, дякую. Дякую, пане
Thank
Олександре,
you,
за те,
Alexander,
що розповіли настільки детально про
for
цей,
your
поки що
detailed
заплановане,
overview of this
як він буде втілено.
planned pilot project.
Сподіваємося, що найближчим часом в
We
межах
hope
міжвідомчої координаційної
that
ради матимемо
Interagency
можливість всі
Coordination
разом це
Council
обговорити,
will
прийти
be
до
able to
якихось
discuss
конкретних рішень,
all
в
of
тому
that
числі, зокрема,
together,
чи
finds best
через рішення
solutions
Ради
for each
суддів
issue.
України,
Um,
чи якимось іншим
Maybe we
шляхом
will
для того, щоб
use
запровадити
as a tool,
цей
we can
пілот.
use a decision of
І насправді роль Міністерства юстиції є
Council of
надзвичайно
Judges
важливою.
or some other
Як я вже сказала, і в
mechanisms.
контексті
The Ministry of Justice
євроінтеграційних
plays
процесів,
a
і
very
в контексті,
important
звісно,
role both
забезпечення
for
діяльності
mediation
цієї
and
міжвідомчої
for
координаційної ради.
the
І
EU
сподіваємося,
integration
що далі
process
буде
as a whole.
існувати ось
And
такий
we hope
тісний діалог
that we
між
will keep
організаціями, між
being in this
медіаторською спільнотою, між представниками різних органів
close
влади.
dialogue
І тут одразу
among
хочеться
all the
звернути увагу, що
stakeholders.
в нас є
I want to
медіатор,
highlight
який
here
тільки
that
медіацією
we
займається,
have
і, на жаль, це
mediator
не можна
who
побачити
is
через
focusing
статистику, бо,
only
наприклад,
on
у нас немає
mediation.
такого виду економічної
It
діяльності.
cannot be
І
measured through
якщо він
statistical
з'явиться, то
data
я
because
зможу
we
як
don't
медіатор,
have this
наприклад,
as a
звітувати,
separate
і буде в
um,
статистиці видно, скільки в нас сьогодні,
economic or business
наприклад,
activity.
фізичних осіб-підприємців або
Once we
організацій
have
саме
this in
займаються
place, we
наданням
will be
цієї
able to
послуги.
see the statistics, how many
Сподіваюся, що ми
mediators
зможемо
do
це так
just
само
mediation, nothing
найближчим
else.
часом на
Hopefully, it will be discussed at the following session, at the next session of the Coordination Council. Statistical data are important, but how we measure the data, how we collect the data is also important. Thank you very much once again. Now, let me give the floor to the next speaker. Now we are going to switch the topic a little bit. We are going to talk about mediation in the framework of taxation. Lesa Karnauch is here with us. She's an acting head of the State Tax Service of Ukraine. Lesa, please enlighten us about the further plans related to mediation or other ADR mechanisms in tax-related disputes. What's the current policy of the state tax service of Ukraine? Greetings, dear colleagues and attendees of the forum. I would love to thank Academy of Mediation for organizing this forum. We are actively cooperating with the Academy. We are now running this pilot project at the Tech Service where we are piloting mediation as an ADR of tax for tax related disputes. Taxation issues are hot and very relevant for Ukraine and other countries of Ukraine. Tax services throughout the globe think about how to improve the tax obligations, how the citizens, how can we make citizens fulfill their obligations. Neither us nor other tax services in the world have found a silver bullet for that issue. Some countries use automation, like Estonia, for example. They have this real economy concept when taxpayer and tax service are seen as partners. Our country is also using this concept. We at the tax service we are using this service orientation. We want our services to be as comfortable as possible for the citizens. Why is it important? In 2024, State Tax Service of Ukraine conducted this survey using World Bank methodology to measure level of trust. Unfortunately, we have seen very sad results, and that means that we have to find new alternative ways of communication with the citizens, with taxpayers, and increase the trust. Some statistics. At the moment, State Tax Service of Ukraine has around 33,000 disputes handled by courts. And it means that a huge number of our officers are dealing with those disputes. Branches of our service that are responsible for the court cases consist of 72 officers. On average, we have 12,000 court cases per year where we are a party. And that's a lot of work for our responsible officers. That's a very high workload. So That and other requirements towards us made us join this pilot project together with ombudsman, where we business ombudsman, where we use mediation as a mechanism. We have 3 successful cases so far. What do we see there? These cases are dealing with high amounts of money, and taxpayer chose to resolve this conflict outside court, and that for us meant lower workload. This positive result inspired us a lot to use this procedure more. And so we have revisited the current legislation that regulates all the tax-related disputes. So we developed a respective bill together with, and we are very grateful to the Ukrainian Academy of Mediation for the consultations they provided to us. So we have developed this bill on alternative resolution of administrative disputes through tax mediation. We have worked with a lot of details. We understand that tax mediation is not a silver bullet. It can be only when there is a complexity of existing legislation in this field. So the tax service, it's when tax service believes they are right, and the taxpayer believe they are right. In such cases, what matters is behavior of both parties. So based on preliminary communications between parties, cases usually end up in court, and payments, court fees are not that high, and that enables some delays that can be good for taxpayers in these cases. The state has to collect taxes to cover the costs, including the defense sector costs, which are so important now. That's why this disruption in tax payments due to the prolonged court cases is not optimal. So we chose cases where mediation could be a good option, and we took care of not making mediation substitution therapy, so to say. We made it very comfortable for both parties, and we paid a lot of attention to questions of who can be playing the role of mediator of these cases, so that legal implications of disputes settled through mediation procedure would not escalate the conflict further. We have an intention to carry on running this pilot project. We are going to get a go-ahead from the Ministry of Finance for our draft law, and we will have consultations with the entrepreneurs, with businesses. We will have the broad consultations with the respective institutions and stakeholders.
вважає, що таким чином можна попробувати зменшити навантаження на судову гілку
We
влади
have
і
to
при
work
цьому
together
забезпечити
to
прогнозованість і стабільність надходжень
unload
до
the
державного
judiciary
бюджету.
and
Отже,
ensure that tax
станом на зараз
payments
3 успішно
are
реалізованих кейси розроблено
carried
законопроект,
out
який
in
найближчим
timely
часом
manner.
вийде на
Like I
громадське
said,
обговорення,
these
та
draft laws will
незбирне
soon
бажання Державної
be
податкової служби
up to
бути дійсно
up for
сервісною
public
організацією в першу
discussions.
чергу.
And
І
once again,
застосовувати
let me
заходи контролю
highlight
лише
that
тільки до тих,
we are
хто
aiming at making
дійсно
tax
не
service of
поважає
Ukraine
українське
as
законодавство, не
service
поважає
oriented
український
as
народ і
possible.
не виконує свій основний конституційний обов'язок не платить податки. Дуже
We have to
дякую.
make sure that
Готова
taxpayers
до
do
подальшої
pay
дискусії.
taxes. That's what we
Пані
do.
Леся, дякую
Thank you
за
so much for your
привнесення
attention.
цієї
Thank you,
перспективи
Alessia,
розвитку медіації, а
for
можливо і
sharing
не
your
тільки
perspective
медіації, а взагалі
on
альтернативних
further
способів
development of
вирішення спорів.
mediation or maybe
І я зі
ADR
свого боку теж
in
хочу
general.
подякувати за таку
On my behalf,
відкритість до
I
діалогу, за
would like
дружню
to thank
співпрацю.
you for
І попри
openness
ось
to
ці шалені
dialogue
цифри,
and
навантаження на
communication,
обмежену
partnership.
кількість працівників,
Despite
хочу також
the
сказати
huge
і
workload
висловити
you
вдячність за те,
have,
що все одно працівники
I would
податкових
underscore
служб
that
знаходять час для того, щоб
tax service
розвиватися,
officers
досліджувати і
still
взяли участь в ХНВ
manage to
курсах.
find
Було
time
онлайн навчання для
and take
представників
part
системи.
in
Це
many
теж
initiatives,
про
including
те, наскільки
two
сьогодні, попри
trainings.
всі виклики, представники органів
Despite all the
влади і, зокрема,
challenges,
податкової служби докладають зусиль до
we see
саморозвитку. І ваші
your
слова про
dedication and
сервісну
commitment.
про сервіс,
And
да,
what
державу
you
як
say
сервіс,
about
це
service
дійсно
orientation
за цим стоїть така робота,
are
яка, попри шалені
so
навантаження, вона все одно
meaningful.
в
We see a
цілі
lot of work you are
Дякую вам. І
investing
тут
into
я
this.
тільки хочу
Thank you
ще
so much.
сказати, що на допомогу
Um, let me just
розвитку
say one
медіації в
more thing.
цілому в адміністративній сфері
To help develop
Українська академія
mediation in
медіації в
an
межах проєкту
administrative
Європейського Союзу
sector,
ініціювала створення
our academy, together with
міжінституційної
other
робочої
partners,
групи з
initiated
розвитку механізмів
establishment of
альтернативного врегулювання публічних правових спорів.
interagency
І, звісно, туди доєдналися і
entities.
Державна
And
податкова
now
служба, і
tax
представники
service
інших
is part
органів
of this
влади, і
initiative,
представники
and other
медіаторської спільноти. І
um,
взагалі будемо
institutions
шукати
of
варіанти, як
executive
можна
power. We will
відбудовувати
try
цей діалог між
and
державою
see
і
how the
приватним сектором.
dialogue can be
Дякую дуже. І
facilitated
хочу
further
передати
between
слово
businesses,
пані
state,
Ользі
and us.
Кільдюшкіній,
Now,
яка
let me give the
сьогодні
floor to
представляє
Olga
тут
Kildyushkina. She
офіс
is
віце-прем'єра,
representing the
віце-прем'єр-міністра з питань європейської та
Vice
євроатлантичної
Prime
інтеграції України.
Minister for
Бо як
European
вже
integration
сьогодні
of
прозвучало,
Ukraine.
медіація є в
We have heard
фокусі
today
уваги,
already that
вона
mediation is
входить
a hot
в
topic for
перелік
everyone, and it's
євроінтеграційних
one
питань,
of the issues to
який
be dealt
докладає
with
Україна
on the
зусиль,
way
щоб
to
воно було в
European
повній
integration.
відповідності
And
до
Ukraine
вимог
is paying
Європейського
a lot
Союзу,
of
які наразі
attention
існують. Пані
to
Ольга.
this issue. Thank you. Olga.
Пані Луїзо, вітаю колеги.
Thank you,
Дякую.
Luisa.
Мене чутно?
Can you hear
Так,
me?
чутно, прекрасно.
Yes, we can
Супер,
hear you
чудово.
very well.
Я теж рада вас всіх бачити. Вражаюча
I'm
кількість
also happy to
учасників
see all of
і
you, an
кожного
impressive
року
number of
це
participants, and
суперпродуктивні дні
each year
форуму. І я дуже
this
вітаю
event is super
академію зі
productive,
сталістю.
and
Це вже
I
десяте, що
congratulate for such a
відбувається.
consistency
Дуже приємно бути
because
частиною
it is the
цього
10th time
обговорення
we
і
have such
частиною цієї
event. I'm
спільноти,
pleased to
бо
be a
сама не
part of
є
this
медіатором,
community
я не
and
практикую, але дуже
communication.
добре
I'm a
знайома з
mediator
процедурами,
myself. I do
свідомо
not
і з
practice, but I'm
перевагами
widely
цієї
aware with the
процедури і щиро
benefits,
вболіваю
issues, and the
за цей
procedures of
інститут
this
в нашій країні, в нашій правовій
this
системі.
activity, and I'm rooting for
Сьогодні мені дуже зручно,
mediation in
оскільки
our
я вже
legal
говорю
system.
після
That's very
всіх
comfortable
гілок
to
влади і
speak for
навіть
me after because I
після
speak after all
податкової, тому
branches
що
of
все
power
це показує,
and
наскільки медіація
after
є
the tax
універсальним
service.
інструментом.
It
На самому початку
demonstrates how
розвитку
universal mediation
цього
is.
інституту
At the very
було чітке
beginning, at the inception of the
протиставлення.
development of this
Є суди
institution,
і є
was
от
clear
альтернативні способи
division. There
вирішення
is the
спорів,
court
і
and
от
there is
це наш шлях, да, от
ADR. And this
розвантажити
is
суди.
how we
Тепер вже
see it, to
абсолютно
relieve the
очевидно, що
workload on the
медіація це
courts.
абсолютно
Now it's quite apparent that
універсальний
mediation
автономний
is the
інструмент,
universal
який є
autonomous tool.
частиною
It is a
великої
part of
системи
bigger ecosystems of the means of dispute resolution. It incorporates arbitrary negotiators and courts, of course. And Ms. Karnauch used this word, the state services, and indeed, the state has to ensure that ecosystem is predictable, efficient, and that every participant, every citizen, every business can opt for a certain tool and a certain situation, and which tool is going to be the most efficient and applicable in certain situation. The previous speaker has mentioned that mediation is about trust, and it's the cornerstone of this institution, because we speak about the trust of parties to one another and the trust to a third party to mediate, to trust a stranger who will help to go through the procedure and find a solution is very important. But what is also important is the trust that the parties can actually resolve the dispute independently and ensure the sustainability of this result. Uh, Previous speakers mentioned that as the country, we have to put serious effort to nourish this trust inside of our society. We're in a very challenging historic moment now, and yet we have to keep going and not give up. When we speak about European integration, it's not only about mediation, of course, but also about other institutions. It's not about adopting laws or developing certain procedures or creating certain institutions. We speak about sustainability and efficiency of the tools we already have. And the main thing is that we engage mediation in a wider scope of issues. Mediation is now engaged in equal terms in the roadmap of rule of law and into the strategy of reforms in the constitutional justice and rule of law. It all means that mediation is now grown up. It's not seen as something auxiliary, some exotic procedure that may work, and that's like some magic is going to work. Everyone talks, and they found the solution. Today, we can see that at the state level, there is a clear understanding that mediation is one of the tools of development of the efficient functioning of our country. And from the state's perspective, we invest the time and effort. We heard it from previous speakers. The rules that mediation functions and other procedures should be understandable, sustainable, um, and consistent. At the same time, the promotion of mediation is on mediators' shoulders in the first place. Only concerted efforts in the coordination, it is possible to produce the high quality result. If we speak about European integration, as the country, we report about the fulfillment of the roadmap, and Mr. Olinik has already mentioned what the Ministry of Justice does. They also collect the information about other institutions' activities. And we have to demonstrate to our EU partners that we continue the work that this institute has uh, is becoming increasingly stronger to become the full-fledged mechanism of dispute resolution within our justice system. It has already been mentioned today that is especially relevant during the wartime. And we speak about the external enemies, but also this mental health load triggers the new conflicts and deteriorates the old ones. We can see the increasing tension in the families and the communities and in the labor interaction. And the including the interaction of the citizens with the state. At the level of the state and professional communities, we have to speak about the new challenges we see, and new challenges require new solutions. And we consider its importance not only during these public events, but during the everyday work of the Academy of Attorneys and the Mediation Academy, but all the professional communities invest lots of effort, and we're thankful to our donors, the international partners who support us financially to make sure that each smaller segment worked well within. We cannot impose mediation from up down. We cannot force people to go to mediators. We could see the practices of other countries that it does not contribute to the sustainability and stability of this institution. But the spreading of best practices at the level of communities, schools, and the talents within the organizations makes it possible to build a really stable, powerful system. Um, at the end, I would like to highlight that we must understand the place of mediation within the justice system. Fortunately, we no longer equal justice and courts, and we can see during this forum too. It is important to continuously register and remind people that ecosystem we have in Ukraine is the one that ensures the dispute resolution, and the mediation is an important tool here. Another issue is the quality of uh, services of mediators, and we can see that professional community works hard on ensuring the professional standards, the code of ethics, the proper training, and this work has to continue and become enhanced. And in this context, the legal community is also an important component here. We have to support and to be widely aware about the work of our colleagues, mediators, both judges, attorneys, and other legal professionals have to have clear understanding and be able to explain to the parties, to our clients, about the options they have. We uh, stepped away from a one day in the court seen as the access to justice, that somewhere everyone can come and see a judge and submit the case to the court. It's not only the case, and the legal as legal professionals, we have to speak about that to the businesses, to citizens, and now that business mediation uh, develops actively too. We also have to continue to improve the policies and legislative framework in this area. It is closely linked to the fact that mediation as an institution does not stand still. It keeps developing, and thanks to that, thanks to such events like this, our mediators in the European and global context, at some point will learn from our European colleagues now, where on equal terms discuss some challenges and issues and build up our joint vision of challenges and the situations. And the most important thing is spreading information about mediation. Uh, this is about the success stories, the communication,
Велике питання в тому, що медіація
big
це процес конфіденційний, часто
of
сам
course,
факт
the
медіації є
mediation is
конфіденційним. Дуже важко
the confidential
розказати про
process, and the fact of
успіхи,
mediation is
тому що
confidential.
немає
So
можливості
it
розкрити цю
may be
інформацію,
quite
але
difficult to
тим не
speak
менше
about
це
success
треба
stories
говорити,
because
треба
you cannot
говорити
disclose
простою
this
мовою,
information. But we have to
пояснювати,
speak about that and in
які є
simple
переваги
words, to
в
speak
цього
about the
важливого
benefits of
інституту,
this important
і
tool.
таким чином
And
будувати базу
in
для
this
того,
way,
щоб
we will
ця
have to build the
процедура
foundation um,
працювала і
to
була
make
дуже ефективною.
this procedure to
Наостанок
be as
хочеться
efficient as
сказати, що
possible.
дійсно європейський вимір медіації в
Uh,
Україні це про
when
те,
we
що ми
look at
перестали
the EU
сприймати медіацію
perspective
як
in
якийсь
Ukraine,
вихід.
means that
І це ми
no,
розуміємо,
that
що
we no
це
longer
частина
see mediation
сучасної
as an
культури.
alternative. We see
І
it
для нас
now as the part
це
of modern culture.
те, що
And
довіра не будується через рішення судів. Вона
trust does
будується
not
тоді,
build
коли люди
through
беруть на
the
себе
court
відповідальність,
rulings.
вступають в
It is
діалог,
built when people take
домовляються і
responsibility, step
забезпечують
into the
сталість
dialogues,
цих домовленостей.
settle, agree, and
І розвиток
ensure the
медіації це не про те,
continuity
що
and
ми хочемо
sustainability of these
якимось новим чином вирішувати
agreements.
спори,
Mediation is not
а про те,
about
що ми
new ways
використовуємо
of
правову культуру в нашій країні.
resolution,
Ми
dispute
підтверджуємо,
resolution.
що
It's
наші
about building
інституції
this
є
legal
сталими і
culture in
дієвими,
Ukraine.
і про те,
We
що ми
rest
як
assured that our
суспільство
institutions are
вчимося працювати з
sustainable and
конфліктами.
mature, and
Ми
that
їх
we
не
as society
замовчуємо, ми
learn how
їх
to
не
work with the
доводимо до
disputes. We
точки
do not
кипіння,
bring it
але
to the
ми
boiling point. We
використовуємо
do not
інструменти для того, щоб знайти
turn a blind
рішення
eye to
і
it,
через
but we
діалог
use the tools
розбудувати нашу державу.
to find
І це
the
особливо
solution and
актуально
use the dialogue
зараз,
to
дуже
build
актуально
our
буде після
country,
нашої
and
перемоги,
it will be
коли буде
especially relevant
велике
after our
відновлення
victory
і на
when we're
рівні
going to go through
інфраструктури, і на рівні
major
асоціаційного
recovery
керівництва.
at the
Я
level of
дуже вам дякую
infrastructure
за
and our
можливість сьогодні бути
societal
тут.
social
Я буду
relationships. Thank
залишатися,
you
я
very
хочу
much for the
послухати
opportunity
ще
to be
доповіді
here.
колег.
I will stay with
І
you because I
сподіваюся,
want to
що це
hear the
буде
colleagues'
захід, який, як пан Лаврів сказав, під
presentations.
час якого ми
And
звіримо годинники і
I
будемо
believe
готуватися до
that
того, щоб на
that's going to be
наступний
the
рік
event that will
розказувати
enable us
про
to
результати
synchronize
пілотних
our effort.
проєктів
And next year, we're going to
і
speak about the
інших
results of
ініціатив.
the
Дякую,
positive
пане.
results of our pilot project. Thank
Дякую,
you very
пані
much.
Ольга, і за
Thank you, Ms.
представлення
Olga.
європейського
Thank you
виміру
for
і
bringing
за
in the
всі
European
ті,
perspective
знаєте,
here
такі
and for
висновки, які ви
all those
зробили,
conclusions
підсвітили.
you
Звісно, роботи
highlighted
багато, і
here. There are a
точно
lot of
те,
work to
що
do ahead,
стосується, знаєте,
but
це форум, це якщо тут це вже озвучено, то
if
треба буде
you
знову
voice that on this
переговорити. А я
forum, it means that you will
ці
have
пілоти
to
втілювалися
speak about the
щодо,
results of this pilot
бо
projects. You'll
дійсно
have to speak about the progress.
треба давати таку актуальну інформацію.
You
Дуже
have to
часто
provide
ми
this
не знаємо, що
relevant, timely
відбувається. Да?
information.
Скільки багато
Sometimes we do
роботи
not know what's
втілюється,
happening.
наприклад, та ж
We may
сама
not be
підтримка
aware
плану правничої
about the
допомоги на рівні
work
міністерств, на рівні
being
окремих
done.
закладів.
For
Але про це
example, there's a
просто
free legal
невідомо
aid centers at
широкої
the different
кількості
levels, but not
населення,
many
людей, і ось
people
такий форум
are
можливість
aware of that. And this forum
окреслити
is another
всі здобутки і
opportunity
всі плани.
to highlight all the
Дуже
plans
вам
and all the
дякую, і тепер
achievements.
хочеться
Thank
перейти
you. And
саме
now
до
I would like
однієї з
to
служб, яка
give the
багато,
floor to one of the
надзвичайно багато
services
протягом цього
that
року зробила
during
для
this
розвитку
year has done
медіації
a
в
lot
контексті
to develop
трудових
mediation in the
правовідносин.
context of
Пан
labor
Дмитро, ви з нами?
legal cooperation. Mr.
Пан
Dmitro, are
Дмитро,
you
це
with
голова
us? Dmitro is the
Національного
head of the
посередництва і
National Mediation
примирства.
and
І перед
Reconciliation
тим, як передати вам
Service.
слово,
And
одразу хочу
before giving you the
подякувати
floor, I would
за
like to thank you
всі
in
ці
advance for
здобутки,
all
які
the
протягом,
achievements
начебто,
that
невеликий проміжок
during
часу,
this short
один із рік,
period
але
of time,
який
just a
вдалося
year,
досягти,
you managed to
підготувати
achieve.
пул
You
професіоналів. Але
trained
перше передаю
the
вам
pool
слово,
of
щоб ви могли
professionals, but
поділитися
I'm
цим.
giving the floor to you
Добрий
for you to
день,
share.
шановні
Hello,
учасники
dear
форуму.
participants of the forum.
Організаторам дякую за запрошення.
Thank
Минулого року
you
я був
for the
модератором
invitation.
однієї з панелей,
I
а
used to be
цього
the
року
moderator
мене
of one of the
нарешті
panels last
запросили
year,
виступити.
but this
Дякую.
time I'm finally
Отже,
invited to as a speaker. Thank you
Національна
for that.
служба посередництва і
The
примирення
National Service of
займається
Mediation and
просуванням
Reconciliation
медіації в
focuses
трудових
on
відносинах,
promotion of
в першу
mediation in
чергу
labor
колективних трудових спорах з
cooperation,
22
the
року, з 22 року.
collective
Саме тоді,
labor
в
disputes
жовтні
since
22
late
року була створена
2022. In October
лідерська
2022,
робоча група,
we created the
яка
Interagency
займалась
Working Group.
розробкою
It
законопроекту про колективні
dealt
трудові спори.
with
І саме в цьому
draft law on the
законопроекті передбачена
collective labor disputes. This
інституціалізація
draft
трудової
law
медіації
provides for
як
institutionalization of
спеціалізації
labor mediation
медіаторів
as the specializations of mediators with a basic level according to the applicable law. We carried out 53 meetings of this working group. The group incorporates the social partners, the trade unions, employers. It also incorporated the international experts as well as the representatives of the leading academic institutions and other institutions. As a result, we drafted the law on the collective labor disputes registered by the group of the MPs, group headed by Ms. Tretyakova on the 16th of September 2024. The draft law was approved by the committee for the first reading, but as Mr. Babi mentioned, it is expecting for its window of opportunities to be put on voting. The provisions of this draft law in terms of labor mediation were submitted as the part of the labor code registered under the number 14 1436, and it's now anticipating for the first reading in the Verkhovna Rada. Apart from the 53 meetings of the working group that were taking place through 2.5 years, already have about 23 meetings of the group, of the working group initiated by the committee itself, and the results were well coordinated and approved. We also gained the technical memorandum of international labor organizations with 15 remarks, 13 of which were taken into account by the members of working group. We have two alternatives. This is either the draft law 120/24 or the draft of labor code book 4. Both of these documents provide for institutionalization of labor mediation. Accordingly, without waiting for the adopting of these regulations, jointly with the partners, we took part in the development of the professional standards of the on labor mediator. In March of 2024, it was approved by the National Qualification Agency. With the support of International Labor Organization, in May, June last year, the International ILO Training Center performed the hybrid mode of training of 18 Ukrainian mediators. They were trained as the trainers for labor mediation. After that, in April this year, the trainers trained in Torino performed the training of the pilot group of Ukrainian mediators focused on labor mediation. The training was a success, and we in this way got 24 labor mediators. Further trainings are scheduled for September, October. And accordingly, September, October this year. And our organizations and ILO plan to train two other groups of labor mediators in the following year. So until the end of next year, we hope to have the pool of over 100 labor mediators across all the regions of Ukraine. Currently, jointly with ILO, we look for the opportunity to create user-friendly register of trade mediators held by our organization on our website.
We also have some arrangements with the Free Legal Aid Coordination Center concerning
медіативних послуг пробоно в справах,
pro bono mediation
які
services
стосуються
in
як
cases
колективних, так і індивідуальних трудових спорів.
for both
Але
collective and
не
individual
тільки
labor disputes.
медіацією ми займаємось, ми
But
просуваємо
we
і
work not only
інші
with mediation,
альтернативні
we are
способи
promoting
вирішення спорів.
also
Вчора
other
я повернувся з
mechanisms of
навчального
ADR.
центру МОП в Турині,
Just
де
yesterday, I came back
відбувалось
from
навчання
Turin,
12
where
тренерів
I
з трудового
attended
арбітражу.
um,
І як ще один
training on
альтернативний
labor
спосіб вирішення
arbitration
спорів,
for
ми
trainers.
просуваємо
So we
трудовий
promote
арбітраж. Професійний
labor
стандарт трудового арбітра
arbitration
був також нещодавно затверджений
as
Національним
another
агентством кваліфікацій.
ADR
Отже,
tool.
ми рухаємось
So
до
we are
розбудови
moving
системи
towards development
альтернативного
of
вирішення колективних
ADR
трудових спорів
system
досить
for
активно.
labor
І
disputes.
ще хотів зазначити,
One
що
more point I'd
в
like to make.
лютому минулого року в
In
Женеві
February last
проводилась
year in
технічна
Geneva,
нарада МОП,
there was this
яка була
technical
присвячена
session
доступу
of
до
ILO
правосуддя в сфері праці.
on
В цій нараді приймали
labor
участь 80
disputes
країн.
and
І
justice
там представники НСПП переконали, що
tools.
ці
So there
тренди
was
розвиток
over
медіації
70
в трудових
countries
спорах,
represented
розвиток
at that
трудового
session.
арбітражу
We
є
were talking
такою
about labor
загальносвітовими.
arbitration
І Україна
as
в цих
a
трендах
golden
не пасе
standard for
задніх і,
the
відповідно,
entire world.
достатньо активно
Ukraine
просувається.
is also
Отже,
moving in the same
як сьогодні
direction.
вже говорили
As it
колеги,
has been mentioned today by other
медіація
colleagues,
як процес
mediation
мирного вирішення конфліктів, зокрема в сфері праці, є
as
вкрай
an
перспективною.
ADR tool is a
Зараз
very
існують
promising
певні
method,
обмеження щодо
and
страйків, акцій
there is
соціального
certain
протесту,
limitations
пов'язаних з
on
воєнним
strikes and other
станом,
forms of
але
social
після
protests
скасування
related to martial
воєнного
law.
стану
But once the
ми
martial law
в
is
НСПП
over in
очікуємо
Ukraine,
сплеску
we expect
конфліктогенності в суспільстві,
more
зокрема
conflicts in the
в
society,
соціально-трудовій сфері. І
especially in the
вважаємо
labor
зараз
sector.
цей період обмежень як певне вікно
So
можливостей для того,
the
щоб
current
краще
limitations
підготуватись до
can be used
викликів
as a window
майбутнього,
of
з тим, щоб
opportunities to
Україна
get ready
швидко
for
пройшла
the
процес
later
відновлення від
um,
наслідків
burst
війни.
of conflicts
Отже, ще раз
when Ukraine will
дякую
be
учасникам,
bouncing back from the
дякую
wartime.
всім учасникам
Once
форуму
again, thank
за
you very much,
увагу
everybody,
велику
for your
до
attention,
медіації
for
такої. Дякую організаторам
thinking
за
and
запрошення
working with
і
mediation. Thank you once
дякую
again,
всім
dear
за увагу.
organizers, for the invitation.
Дякую, пане Дмитро, що
Thank you,
поділилися
Dmitro,
напрацюваннями в
for
сфері не тільки
sharing
медіації, але
the
взагалі
your
в контексті
overview
альтернативних
of
способів вирішення спорів, бо насправді
ADR and
це є
mediation in particular.
важливим для того, щоб
That's
дійсно було
all interrelated
досягати
and very
порозуміння
important
в трудовій
on
сфері, і
our
при
way
цьому
to
додаткове не
um,
без необхідності
settling
звертатися, без
conflicts
необхідності
in
звертатися
labor
до суду. І
disputes
дякую, що
with
ви це
outside
розвиваєте.
the court. Thank you
І
very
я
much for
сподіваюся, що всі,
saying all
хто
that, and I
зараз
hope
чули
that
пана Дмитра,
all of you,
зафіксували
dear
собі, що в березні
listeners,
черговий набір відбудеться на
heard that
навчання
in
для
September there will be
медіаторів, які хочуть змінити
another
спеціалізацію
training
в
for
сфері трудової
mediators who want to
медіації.
specialize in
Однією з умов
labor
проходження цього курсу
disputes
є
settlement.
попереднє проходження онлайн-курсу міжнародного
A
центру
prerequisite
ITC ILO,
for this
тренінгового центру з
training
медіації Міжнародної організації праці. Тож, будь
is
ласка, не
online
зволікайте.
participation
Дуже
in one
цікавий
of the
напрямок, і як бачите,
basic
він
courses
потужно
from
розвивається, і буде
ITCI
окремий реєстр,
law.
де можна буде знаходити
There will be
медіаторів з такою
an individual
спеціалізацією.
register
Так,
where
я додам,
mediators
що
with
навчання
labor
це
specialization
є
will be
безкоштовним
um,
для учасників і
seen and found.
повністю покривається
And this training is free of
рахунок
charge.
наших міжнародних партнерів.
It's paid by our
Так, і ще
international
один важливий
partners.
момент про те, що там є спеціальні місця для
One more important point.
медіаторів,
There is
школа ветеранів, бо в нас є сьогодні в Україні
spots reserved for mediators
які
who
вже
are
ветерани
veterans.
здобули цю
We
нову
do have
професію.
this
І так само
group of
є
mediators in
місця,
Ukraine
які
today.
Національна
Veterans,
служба
war
посередництва
veterans
та
who have
примирення виділяє і тримає немає для того, щоб і в
attended
цьому напрямку
basic course
можна
and have
було
become
цю
mediators.
спеціалізацію здобувати.
So
Бо сьогодні багато
it's
питань
for your
виникає
attention, dear
в
mediators.
контексті
We have a lot of
працевлаштування
questions
ветеранів
related
потім в
to
подальшому вже
um,
в умовах цивільного життя.
employment of
Щиро вам дякую.
veterans
І
in
тут
the
я вже хочу
peaceful
передати
society.
слово
Now, thank you
пані
very much.
Вірі
Let me give the
Проців,
floor
яка є
to Vera
заступницею
Protsiv,
начальника
Deputy
управління організації
Head
служби освітньої безпеки Національної поліції
on
України. І тут
education
я
safety
хочу
in
зі свого
education
боку
safety
короткий
service of
вступ
the National
зробити,
Police of Ukraine. I will
що
say a few introductory words here.
насправді ця співпраця
Actually, this
була
cooperation
неочікуваною, але є
has
джерелом
become quite
постійного
unexpected
зараз
for us,
натхнення та
but
задоволення,
it's a
принаймні для
huge
Української
source
академії
of
медіації,
inspiration for Ukrainian
наскільки
Academy of
класно і
Mediation.
ефективно вдається співпрацювати з
It's really
представниками служби
smooth
освітньої безпеки, з
and
інспекторами служби
fruitful
освітньої
cooperation
безпеки.
with the
Дякуємо вам
educational
за це і
safety
за те, що
service.
допомагаєте нести
Thank you very much,
медіацію
Vira,
і ось
for
такі
that, and
основи для
thank you
насильницького
for
спілкування в
um,
освітнє середовище. Пані Віра.
implementing nonviolent communication in
Вітаю
educational
всіх
sector.
присутніх.
Thank you, Vira,
Дуже
over to
дякую
you.
за можливість
Thank you, Luisa,
виступати
for
на
the
міжнародному
introduction
форумі.
and
Для
for the
нас це
opportunity
також
to speak at
неочікувано.
this
Я
international forum.
сподіваюся,
It's
це буде
also quite
хорошою
an
доброю
unexpected
традицією.
development for
Дякую
us,
вам
and
окремо,
we
пані
hope
Луїзо, за такі
to
гарні
make it
слова.
a good
І наша
tradition.
співпраця насправді є
Our
дуже
cooperation
такою
is
корисною
very
як для
useful
наших
for
поліцейських, так і
us, for the
для
police
тих,
service,
для кого ми
and
працюємо.
for our beneficiaries, of
Отже,
course.
трошки про нашу службу
A
і
few words
про
about our
цінність
service
медіації
and
для нас
about importance
і
of
для наших
mediation
поліцейських.
for us and our
Отже, сьогодні в умовах
um,
повномасштабної війни
beneficiaries.
питання безпеки
Now,
дітей
with the
виходить далеко
ongoing
за межі
war,
фізичного
children's
захисту, і безпечне
safety
освітнє
is a
середовище це
pressing
має бути той
issue,
простір, у
and
якому
safe
дитина
educational
почувається
space
захищеною,
is
почутою, може рости, навчатися та
is
розвиватися
space
та
where a
розвивати себе
child
з
can
розквіту. І
develop
саме
and
тому
learn
сьогодні
and
Служба освітньої
study
безпеки
safely.
Національної поліції
So,
України стала
educational
важливою
safety
складовою
is an
сучасної
important
української школи.
part of
Інспектор
our
школи
work.
сьогодні це вже не просто
Inspector of
поліцейський
our
у
service
закладі
is not
освіти,
just
це і
a
наставник, і
police officer,
комунікатор,
it's
і
also a
медіатор,
mentor,
і
communicator,
профілактик, і це
mediator,
партнер для
and
дітей, і для
prevention
педагогів,
specialist.
і для їхніх батьків,
We
звісно.
work with the
Основна
children, with
місія нашого
the teachers,
інспектора
and with the
це
parents.
запобігати ризикам,
Our main goal is
а
to
не лише
prevent
реагувати
risks, not
на
just
наслідки.
respond
І
to
через щоденну присутність у
consequences.
школі формується атмосфера довіри, де
Through
дитина
our
знає, кого
daily presence at
звернутися у
school,
разі
we build trust
булінгу,
where
насильства,
children know
спроби
where we
конфлікту
are
чи
and
іншої
they
якоїсь складної
can
ситуації.
easily reach
І
out to us if they are
особливого
bullied or
значення на сьогодні
something else
набуває
taking
розвиток
place.
культури миру. Адже мирне
The
освітнє
peace
середовище
culture
це
is
середовище
becoming
взаємоповаги,
more and
діалогу,
more important today.
ненасильницького
Peace
вирішення
culture is
конфліктів.
all about
Інспектори СОП
nonviolent
проводять інтерактивні
communication and
заняття,
dispute settlement.
тренінги,
Our
ролеві, просвітницькі
inspectors
заходи, які спрямовані
conduct
на
a lot of
розвиток
activities at
емоційного
schools
інтелекту,
to
відповідальної
help
поведінки,
children develop their
толерантності,
emotional
навичок
intelligence,
безпечної
tolerance,
комунікації.
safe
Сьогодні
communication
є дуже
skills.
важливою складовою
Today,
роботи в роботі інспектора. Це, звісно, медіація, і
inspectors'
багато наших
work
інспекторів пройшли
entails
такі заняття. Адже
mediation,
кожен
among other
інспектор
things.
проходячи на
All
службу,
our
проходить спеціальну
inspectors
професійну підготовку. Однак ми
undergo
розуміємо, що
special
медіація
training,
є дуже
and we
важливою
understand that
складовою. І тому ще
mediation
раз
is a very
дякуємо Українській
important
академії
element. So
медіації
once again,
за
thank you,
таку можливість.
um,
Отримані знання, звісно,
colleagues
інспектори
from
впроваджують під
Ukrainian
час проведення
Academy
своїх
of
занять
Mediation
зі
for your
школярами.
support in this
Це, зокрема,
work.
уроки миру та
We
справедливості.
conduct
І
these
ці
lessons
інтерактивні
of
заняття,
peace
вони
and
навчають дітей
justice,
поваги до людської
and
гідності, до прав
these
людини,
activities are
до
very
відповідальності за
interactive,
власні рішення, уміння
where
чути інших
children
та
learn how to
конструктивно
hear
вирішувати
others, how
суперечки без
to
агресії.
communicate
Наші учні
effectively, and
навчаються
how to
розпізнавати
settle
причини
disputes.
конфліктів,
We
способи
help
мирного
children
врегулювання,
to
розвивати
l-
емпатію та навички
develop
ефективного слухання,
empathy, active
поважати
listening skills,
різноманітність думок і поглядів,
respect
протидіяти
diversity of
булінгу та
opinions,
будь-яким проявам насильства, брати
counteract
відповідальність за власні
bullying,
вчинки та їх
take
наслідки. І
responsibility
насправді
for your
уроки миру та
own
справедливості,
deeds.
які були проведені
These peace
завдяки
and
Українській
justice
академії медіації
lessons
спільно з
that
вами,
were
це був
organized
не
together
просто
with the
такий цикл якихось
Mediation
занять, а
Academy,
важливий
it was not
інструмент
just
формування
lessons, it
культури
was a
миру,
very important
взаємоповаги та
tool to
безпечної
build
поведінки. І саме
the
через такі
safety in
ініціативи
educational
інспектори
sector.
СОП допомагають
That's
виховувати
why,
покоління, які
and that's
обирають
how
діалог
our
замість конфлікту. І сьогодні це
inspectors
дуже і
help
дуже
school
важливо.
students
Дуже
learn how
важливою
to
також
build
є
dialogue, facilitate dialogue instead of
взаємодія
escalating conflicts. Another important element of our work is interaction with teachers, psychologists at school, and parents. This comprehensive approach helps us prevent conflicts and provide support to the children who need it. We have over 1,800 inspectors of educational safety service, and we, through this work, show that our officers can be someone children have trust
в
in.
тому числі за допомогою таких навчань із медіації.
And that's possible due to mediation, among other things. We are investing into safe educational space, which takes care of safe future Ukraine. We promote values such as respect, responsibility, and so on. We need to teach children how to build safe communication. Now we have ongoing war. Both adults and children are stressed and suffer from uncertainty, and we have to promote peace as a value for our future generations. Our service is aimed at bringing up a new generation of Ukrainians who know what peace is, how valuable it is, and how important it is to build safety every day. Our cooperation is not that long. We have started quite recently, less than a year ago, but we have achieved a lot. Our police officers keep working despite the end of the school year. They work at summer camps. They use all the materials we got from the Ukrainian Academy of Mediation. We are very grateful for that. We can see wonderful feedback both from the teachers, from parents, from school students. They talk about changes they observe in their communication with the peers, and it's an art. It's not easy at all to be able to communicate well. It's really important for us that we can show that a police officer is not someone wearing uniform, it's an adult who can be approached by a child in need, who can help this child find a good solution to settle a conflict or problems they have. When I was a school student, I was really lacking this safe adult, like a psychologist or a police officer, who would help me through mediation, for example. Some of the colleagues before me mentioned that mediation is not just a tool, is not just an option. It has to be something that we use every day for all the services that work for the people, with the people. Once again, thank you so much for popularizing our service, for supporting us, for investing this effort together
Дякую,
with
пані
us.
Віра. А я ще
Thank
хочу
you,
сказати, окрім
Vera.
відкритості
Let me say that
взагалі,
apart
служби
from
інспекторів освітньої безпеки,
openness on
наскільки
this
плідною є ця
educational
співпраця, наскільки
safety
все чітко.
service,
Ми не
it's
встигаємо, у нас
all
шкільний
so
час, не
smooth.
встигаємо щось підняти, не писати, вже одразу
We have this
йдуть
joint
реакції.
chat
Це
with
не
you. We
тільки про
immediately
уроки не
see your
несправедливості, це і
reactions
про
to
ротарі
our
день книжки,
messages.
і про постановки, які
I'm talking
відбуваються
about
десь в
all kinds of
школах. І
activities we have,
низький
all the
уклін за все, що
books and
робите
big
для наших дітей, бо
okay.
під час
I'm
війни дітям
so
надзвичайно важливо
grateful to
бути
you
почутими.
for your
Просто
work at
така
schools.
кількість
It's
різних
very important for
зараз
the children to
проблем,
be heard.
викликів,
adults in Ukraine are
добре, що в
so
школі є зараз ось цей
so
безпечний дорослий,
overloaded with
який
all the
не
challenges
тільки
and
може
stress.
когось
And it's so
покарати,
crucial
а
that
який може
there
бути
is an
тією
adult
людиною,
in
яка
school
допоможе бути
who is
почутою,
safe,
яка
who can
допоможе
help the children
відновити
be heard,
комунікацію,
help the children
взаємодію. І
restore communication that has
я
been disrupted.
захоплені від того, що в
I'm so
Україні
inspired
створена
by
не так давно була ось ця
seeing this
служба
new
освітньої безпеки.
service,
Ми 1 квітня
educational
святкували
security safety
річницю,
service
так, чергову.
in Ukraine.
І
You are very
дякую,
young.
що
You are
ви
less
так
like
відкриті
you've
до
just turned 1 year, right?
застосування інструментів ненасильницького
And I'm so
спілкування.
happy to see your
І тут я
openness
хочу
to
звернути увагу, що в суботу у нас буде
communication
окремо
tools.
проводитися урок
Let me just say,
благодійних
on Saturday
ініціатив
we will
блоку
have
миру та
this
справедливості.
lesson.
Вона
We
насправді
will
була
talk more
первісно
about
запровадження, і
peace and
авторами
justice
є
initiative.
це суддівська спільнота, це Асоціація розвитку суддівського
It will be
самоврядування. І всі,
part of
кому
the
цікаво,
judicial
приходьте,
self-governance. If
дізнавайтеся.
you're
В
interested in
нас
this
є
topic, please join
перекладене
us.
англійською, це
We
мультфільми,
have
які ми будемо,
the
мультфільм
cartoon,
один ми будемо
one
переглядати
cartoon.
онлайн,
We will watch
дітям
it
буде
together
цікаво і буде
with the
проводитися
children.
цей урок, і, звісно,
It's going to
буде
be an
представник служби
online
освітньої
class,
безпеки так
and
само
of course,
ділитися
the
досвідом
educational
проведення таких уроків.
safety
І ще гарна новина, що ця
inspector will be
ініціатива
present.
є
Another good
перемогла в
news:
номінації
this initiative
партнерства,
won
де приклад
this competition
партнерства
in partnership
суддівського корпусу,
uh,
да,
um,
організації, що
award.
представляє суддів. Це медіаторів, Українська академія
Judges,
медіації і
mediation,
Національної
and
поліції України. І
national
ось коли
police are the
така
partners
синергія
that
приносить користь нашим
build this
дітям і
synergy
визначає
for
наше
the benefit
майбутнє.
of our children,
Дякую,
of
пані
our
Віра.
future. Thank you
І
very much,
я
Vira.
вам також дякую від
And
себе і
I
від
also want to
кожного інспектора
thank
Служби
you
освітньої
on my own
безпеки.
behalf and on behalf of
Насправді
our
ми,
inspectors.
представники Національної поліції, звикли, знаєте, працювати за
You know,
наказами, але ви
national
кажете, дуже
police is
швидко
used to
відгукуємося.
working with
Насправді
the
це не тому,
orders,
що
with the
так потрібно, а
documents,
тому,
but
що
we are
насправді
very responsive
це
because
відгукується поліцейським.
this kind of
Вони
work
відчувають, що
is
їм це потрібно,
really
їм це дуже
something
допомагає у їхній
valuable.
щоденній роботі.
Everybody who is
І
involved in it
служимо,
feels
захищаємо.
that.
Сподіваюсь, працюємо
We
разом
serve
задля
Ukraine
миру,
together
задля безпеки
for the
і
peace
задля
and safety,
гарного мирного майбутнього наших дітей. Дякую.
hopefully for the safe
Дякую.
future of our children.
Дякую
Thank you.
вашій особі, усім інспекторам.
I
Дякую.
thank you and all your colleagues.
Ми почули, да,
We
бачення
have
різних органів влади
heard
на те, де
representatives of
сьогодні є
different
місце
branches
медіації, які
of
є плани на розвиток
power.
медіації в їх
We talked
діяльності. І
about the
саме
current state of
зараз час
affairs, about the
перейти
plans,
до наших
and now it's
міжнародних
time
партнерів.
to give the
І в
floor
нас
to our
сьогодні
international
присутня
partners.
пані Ніна Майя
I'm
Шрепфер, яка
giving the floor now
представляє
to
УВКБ
Ms.
ООН.
Nina
Насправді без
Maya
підтримки міжнародних
Schreppfer, who is
організацій,
deputy
без підтримки міжнародних партнерів
representative of
медіація б не могла
UNHCR.
рухатися в своєму
Without them,
розвитку
mediation
настільки
in Ukraine wouldn't
швидко,
be
як це
able
зараз
to
відбувається в
move
умовах війни,
so
в тому числі.
smoothly,
І ось
especially
пані
now in the
Ніна
wartime. So,
хочеться звернутися до вас саме з огляду
Nina,
на
let me say
те,
this.
чим займається ваша
Considering
організація.
the
Звісно, Україна
specialization of
продовжує
your
стикатися з
organization,
масштабним
of
переміщенням
course, Ukraine
населення
is still
та
facing,
іншими
is
соціальними
now facing
наслідками війни.
um,
І ось в цьому
the
питанні
challenges
я б
related to
хотіла
big
почути вашу
amounts
думку,
of
якою може бути роль
IDPs
медіації в
moving in
підтримки
our Ukraine.
сталих
So I would
рішень
love
для
to hear your
подолання
perspective on
наслідків
the role of
вимушеного
mediation
переміщення. Де
or
ви
in
бачите
the context
можливості
of
для якихось спільних дій держави,
migration. Where do
громадянського
you see
суспільства,
the
міжнародних
potential
партнерів?
for cooperation between the
Можете, будь
state,
ласка, поділитися?
NGOs, and other stakeholders? Over to you, Nina.
Thank you very, very much, Louisa. It's a pleasure to be here, and good morning to everyone, or good afternoon for some of you already. Louisa, we are really pleased to be part of it and share our view on how we are increasingly incorporating mediation in our work to help Ukraine manage a very large-scale displacement situation, and more so to support nearly 10 million Ukrainians that have been forced from their homes, whether they live in Ukraine or have been forced to move abroad, to attain a durable solution. We all know that displacement creates a lot of challenges for those who are displaced, for the communities hosting them, for local authorities, and for state institutions alike. Often these challenges evolve around housing, access to services, and finding a job, around social integration, and increasingly also community cohesion. And all of these factors are central to what is coined as a durable solution to displacement. A durable solution is about creating conditions that allow and enable a displaced person to recover from displacement, whether it is through return or integration, and to live normally and at par with others and well integrated in a community. And now we are 5 years into the war, many millions of people in displacement. We really must shift towards support to ending displacement, to support people find a durable solution so that they do not continue to live a life in limbo and uncertainty. And you might ask yourself, where does mediation come in? Where is mediation relevant in managing large-scale displacement and in supporting durable solution? A durable solution, of course, requires a multitude of sectors and interventions to come together. And mediation is no magic wand. And as a standalone intervention, it will not be able to resolve all of these challenges related to displacement because they're very complex. But mediation can play a valuable and impactful role as part of a broader set of interventions to manage displacement and support durable solution. At UNHCR, we are using mediation as a structured, voluntary, and impartial process, and both in a preventative, remedial, and enabling form. In its preventative form, mediation is particularly relevant in our work to address and transform negative perceptions around displacement and turn them gradually into neutral and positive perceptions, as well as to proactively manage disputes before they turn into social tensions or even escalate into conflict. Mediation in its remedial and enabling role, it helps people, communities, authorities, and institutions to rebuild trust, to make decisions in polarized and resource-constrained environments using participatory approaches, and to create a sense of togetherness and build social cohesion in a community that is reconstituting itself as a result of the war and the ensuing displacement. We see that mediation in Ukraine in its most promising role is not as a substitute for legal remedies, but as a complementary tool, a tool that helps communities to manage the practical consequences of war and displacement and to effectively support durable solutions. And the greatest opportunity lie in embedding mediation from the local level upwards to the central level. At local levels, it is essential that people are aware and interested in using mediation resources. And several of the previous speakers have already highlighted the need to further sort of popularize mediation and mediation resources, available mediation services amongst people so they do know what it is about, how they can access it, and how effective it can be to address their situation. We also need local authorities to develop inclusive and participatory approaches to local planning and local decision-making. This is particularly important to build trust and to address problems related to actual or perceived exclusion. We need to invest further in civil society. Civil society at the very local level in particular is absolutely critical to facilitate mediation services and provide community-based mediation platforms. And lastly, at central level, while the government has already taken a lot of steps to create an enabling framework, more is needed, in particular to incorporate mediation in the broader recovery framework as a complementary tool to other systems to address conflicts. And of course, international partners such as UNHCR, our role also needs to be played, both in supporting capacity in systems and to really help popularize mediation amongst people, amongst civil society, and amongst state bodies. Civil society entities is at the center of UNHCR's mediation work here in Ukraine, in particular very localized community-based organizations and so-called IDP councils. We see that these are often the most effective brokers of trust, and that is what makes them a very effective stakeholder in a collaborative mediation approach. And this is why we are investing a lot in their capacity and their role in mediation. For example, we do work with over 350 community-based organizations across Ukraine. Their strength is to contribute to social cohesion in communities that have hosted a lot of IDPs for several years now. We saw in the social impact assessment of their work that these local organizations, they do a wonderful job in stabilizing community relations, in mitigating tensions in a community, but they do not have the mechanisms at hand yet to positively transform communal relations. And this is why we start to invest in professionalizing them to become mediators, to have mediation expertise, to take their role a step further. We're also working very closely with over 100 IDP councils across Ukraine. IDP councils are advisory bodies established under Cabinet Minister Resolutions 812. They are composed of IDPs, members of host communities, local civil society, and local self-government bodies. These IDP councils are set up to be a mediating mechanism to inform participatory and collaborative approaches to local planning and programming, as well as local decision making, and to inform mechanisms that build or rebuild trust and address perceptions of exclusion. And finally, we have a large network of legal facilitators in communities where services are otherwise under a lot of constraint due to the full-scale invasion. And these legal facilitators will be further trained to provide mediation services so that mediation services are available where formal systems are not available, or to complement the formal systems and reduce the burden on them. We have seen in our work so far that areas where mediation to address displacement and the consequences of displacement can be particularly impactful. And we see the following four. The first, monitoring and early prevention mechanisms that identify emerging negative perceptions and social tensions early on and connect parties with available mediation services to enable communication and problem solving. The second good practice are community-based mediation initiatives that are designed to proactively support social adaptation, social integration, and social cohesion, reducing emerging and escalating tensions, and sustainably transforming communal relations. The third good practice are to provide mediation services systematically to address disputes and to complement legal pathways while preserving communal relations. And lastly, the participatory and inclusive dialogue, notably through IDP councils and other community-based platforms to inform local planning and decision-making by authorities to help address the perceived exclusion and increase trust by IDPs as well as other communities in local decisions. At UNHCR, we continue to integrate mediation in our program, especially at the very local levels, using all of our mechanisms that we have at hand. We probe different pilot initiatives to determine which ones are most impactful, and we will scale them up. We see that these mechanisms through community-based protection are often the most relevant contribution at local levels where state systems otherwise are too impacted by the war and not always fully functional. We are looking forward to working with you, Louisa, your team, the Ukrainian Academy, to further professionalize these mechanisms, to increase the overall capacity of mediation and providing mediation services, to provide community-based mediation platforms across the country. Thank you so much.
Щиро дякую, пані Ніна, і за
Thank you
всю
so
ту
much,
роботу,
Ms.
яку ви
Nina,
робите для
including for
підтримки
all that
внутрішньої
work
переміщених
you
осіб,
do to
для того,
support
щоб
IDPs
допомагати
and
формувати
the
цю
work
соціальну
you do
згуртованість на
to shape
місцях,
social
в громадах,
cohesion at the
за всі
community
ці
level on
ініціативи,
site,
які
for
ви
all the
вже
initiatives
втілюєте.
you have
І
already
я також хочу вам особисто
implemented.
подякувати
And let me
за
thank you
привнести
personally
тему медіації,
for
бо,
bringing up
звісно,
the
завжди є
mediation
хтось
topic.
всередині,
There
хто
is always
драйвить це,
someone who
і
is
я
a
знаю, що
driving
це ви.
force to that,
Дякуємо
and I
вам
know
за
that
те,
it's
що
you. So thank
розумієте
you very much
медіаційність,
for
особливо
understanding the
в
value of this
умовах
topic,
переміщення, в умовах
especially
війни,
in the
і
terms of
наскільки
displacement,
важливо
in
те,
terms of
що вона може
wartime,
забезпечити. Вона, звісно, не
and the
магія, вона,
importance of
звісно,
what
не
it can provide
панацея,
for.
але
Of
вона може
course, it's
дати
not a
те,
silver
чого
bullet, that's not
сьогодні не вистачає.
panacea,
Вона
but
може дати
it
можливість
can
бути
provide something that
почутим
we're
і
missing,
почути
the ability
інших.
to be
І
heard and
особливо
the
це
ability
важливо,
to
коли
hear
ми
other people. It's it's especially important when we find ourselves in the communities that a new one that wasn't my home, that I had to replace there, and I have the shelter there, and yet it doesn't mean that. But it means that I won't have the issues. I will have issues that need to be addressed. So the mediation, that the way towards reconciliation, mutual understanding is of utmost importance. I would like to bring your attention that on Wednesday we are going to have a dedicated event in partnership with UNHCR and the organization the 10th of April, the 10 квітня, and you will see how much and this mutual understanding you can get in the communities that incorporate various cultures and ethnicities. And please join this panel. We'll have many interesting speakers. And on Wednesday, we're also going to speak about the effect of the stress on mental health in the context of displacement, when we don't have the opportunity to live where we would like to live and do what we would like to do. Thank you so much. Dear colleagues, we're a little bit behind the agenda, but this is our first panel when we want to outline various trajectories and areas of work we're going to look at deeper during the week. The plan is the following for this week. Today, you could hear about the tax mediation. On Thursday, we're going to have the dedicated session on this topic. We invited the representatives from Great Britain, from Belgium, who are going to share the experience of how to resolve disputes between the taxpayers and the state. We also spoke about the peace and justice. On Saturday, you will see more, and we also invite the children to take part in this lesson of peace and justice. Today, we also spoke about the attorneys and the judges, and just an hour and a half, we are going to have another panel, and it will be participated by the judges from different countries, including, of course, Ukraine. That will be the court apparatus representatives that will share the experience of how to establish cooperation and interaction between the court and mediators as ADR. We are also going to have the session looking on the attorneys accompanying their clients in the mediation procedure. We have planned many exciting sessions ahead. We will have many announcements ahead during this week. You will hear about the opportunities to join this or that session. And on Friday, that's a bit a little spoiler. After we determine the winners of this children's competition and tune in this art, we're going to present the achievements of promotion of mediation through art, and we will present this song written by the veteran. It will be in two languages, in English and Ukrainian, and it will tell you that it's not magic, and we all have these tools in our hands to be ready to hear one another. We have planned so much, so please follow the agenda. Now we're going to have a break for an hour and a half. Those who are going to join the session, we go back on 2 p.m. Kiev time. We're going to speak about the mediation and court. Another session we're going to have today is meeting with of literature community, those who create pieces of literature, and how we could promote mediation in this area, especially for the children. Later in the evening, since we have the day of oceans, we're going to discuss how we can address the maritime disputes. That's going to be a very interesting panel. Don't miss it. And I hope that next year we'll be able to meet in a peaceful Odessa on the Black Sea coast and carry out this discussion, sipping coffee when we see one another face to face. And I hope that our overseas colleagues can will be able to join us too. This year we're going to be online, but still trying to create this spirit to provide the quality content. So please stay tuned, stay with us. Our website has the full program. You can follow it and you can join these sessions using this